After our holiday in France, I was happy to observe the wildlife in our garden. A pair of collared doves had built a nest in our Persian silk tree and produced 2 eggs. One hatched successfully, while the other fell from the tree. So it goes. In the sky above us, the swallows were preparing for their fall migration. Our apple tree had also done well, and we harvested a good number of September apples. I also visited our local forest again. It was nice seeing the last summer flowers and buzzing insects. With each season, the forest changes dramatically. One long-term change, however, is the decline of pine trees. Now this is one of the sadder parts of the forest. This is where a lot of pine trees stood, and as you can see, they've all died or they're dying, and this has all happened in the last couple of years. And this is a combination of drought and a specific beetle, a bark beetle, which burrows into the bark, into the tree, and the larvae of this beetle, they eat away at the insides of the trees, killing them. And usually these pine trees produce sap, and this sap, it's a bit like a protective outer skin layer. Together with the bark, it protects the tree from parasites and beetles and all sorts of bacteria and viruses. But due to the severe droughts that we've had, especially in the year 2018, the trees were unable to produce sufficient sap, because if they don't collect enough water through rainfall, through their root systems, if the trees don't get enough water, they cannot produce sufficient sap. And because of this sap deficiency, this bark beetle was able to massively invade these pine trees and kill them, because their vascular systems are eaten up on the inside, so the trees basically die from within. And this has led to the loss of major parts of our forests. This is also a big problem in Germany, where entire forests, entire pine forests are dying off. Now the upside of the story is what you can see here. You can see all these new trees, these deciduous trees, that are replacing the pine trees, and these deciduous trees are much better for biodiversity. Instead of having a monoculture of pine trees, which supports only a limited number of insects and fungi and birds and such, you get this new forest with lots of deciduous trees such as ash and poplar, oak, beech, birch. So all these trees provide a lot more biodiversity. So 20 years from now, this old dead pine forest will have been replaced by a deciduous forest with a much higher biodiversity, many more species of trees, producing many more different kinds of flowers and roots and fruits. And this will support a lot more species of birds and insects and fungi. So The upside is that 20 years from now this forest will be more healthy and more biodiverse, because these pine forests were mostly planted in the last centuries for wood production, and the ecological value of these pine trees is quite limited. So even though it looks very sad now, in the future it's going to look a lot better. I have to be careful because this is a mountain bike trail, but this remains the most beautiful part of this forest, to find mushrooms. And as I'm saying this to you now, I can smell the first stinkhorn. And of course my friends from the last 2 mushroom episodes are also here. The death caps, Amanita phalloides. Beautiful but deadly. And of course, what's on my hand? Mr. Lyme disease. There's my first stick of the day. And this is one of the perks of late summer. Forest fruit. In this case, blackberries. A little sour, but still pretty nice. I can see that a lot of the flies and other insects beat me to it. Fungus. That looks better. Four buzzards in the sky simultaneously. 4 together. Maybe parents with their offspring trying to teach them how to fly. I don't know. Usually you don't see 4 together. Amazing. Well, that was my first walkabout after our holidays in France. It's now late August. I always find August a fascinating month. It's that time between summer and fall. It's like 2 different seasons fighting each other. The temperatures are going down, especially at night. Most of the flowers have disappeared. The first mushrooms are appearing. And you can notice that autumn smell, the smell of wet leaves. It's not too bad, it's quite nice actually. And you can see the moisture in the air in the morning. And you know that fall is upon you. And fall to me is the most beautiful season. Now my wife doesn't like fall that much, as she associates it with decay. But there's also the rise of the mushrooms. So there's also the beginning of new life and the recycling of nutrients, which is done by fungi, which is very important. Then of course all the trees produce beautiful colors, beautiful autumn colors. So to me, fall remains my favorite season. It's so beautiful and it's very dynamic, like in spring, because everything is changing. In fall everything goes dormant, during spring everything comes back alive. And that dynamic, that change of nature is beautiful to me, it's fascinating. So I hope you enjoyed this short video, this first walkabout in the forest after my holidays. And I hope to make many more videos for you guys, as my health will hopefully continue to improve. So thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.